My background is a lot of roof coatings, but I started my background doing a lot of below grade waterproofing or any type of building envelope waterproofing.
We want to know everything about roof restoration. Hey fam, it's commercial roof restoration, because do you know what's funny, Aaron, that they call roof restoration to the residential storm damages.
Definitely reach out to somebody that's been in the situation before. Other contractors that are willing to, show you the hurdles and obstacles to get through commercial roof restoration.
Hey, what's up, roofing fam? We are back with one more episode, and this one, it is an special one because I have a special guest for me, Aron Corral. Welcome.
Hey, Francisco, how's it going? Thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure.
It's going pretty good. And let me tell you something, Aaron, and to all the audience, why is this episode special? Because different things. The first one is the first episode in English. Mm-hmm. Second one, we are going to talk about my favorite topic in the roofing industry, coatings or specialty. And the third one, we got you, Aaron. And we got Instacoat Premium Products, Technical Director of Application, Aron Corral. It's a good friend. He's also my mentor. A lot of the things that I know in this industry, I owe him to this guy right here. So thank you very much, Aaron. Welcome. And let's start with this interview. Let's start with you. All the audience want to know about you, Aaron. What do you do? Who is Aron Corral? How do you start in the industry? Your experience, your challenges. This is your show, man. Let us know.
Of course, thank you. Thank you, Francisco. No, of course. I always love to, show people how to apply products, or, even the more technical aspect of it, and show them how to, either in different temperatures or different circumstances, or even different regions of the world, how to apply the product correctly. And it's always been a pleasure to show you and anybody else that on the venture trips that we've had, showing them on site how to apply the product correctly. So it's been a great run. My background is a lot of roof coatings. But I started my background doing a lot of below grade waterproofing or any type of building envelope waterproofing. Back in, I want to say about 15 to 16 years ago, I started in Santa Barbara, California, starting doing below grade waterproofing, deck waterproofing, air and vapor barriers, and then also getting introduced into roof restorations. So I did that for a while down in Santa Barbara, California. Worked my way up through from being a laborer all the way to foreman and then superintendent. Then got my opportunity to work with Instacoat Premium Products to be their director of applications and technical support, which my role plays as doing a lot of presentations, a lot of workshops, as you've been to, on-site training, and anything that has to do with bringing in new contractors and teaching them different techniques and how to apply our products through either from below grade to deck waterproofing, epoxy floor coatings, also going all the way to roof restorations.
Damn, Aaron. So can you say that your specialty is in coatings?
Coatings, period. Building envelope in its entirety.
Hey, Aaron, and which one do you like the best?
Ooh, I like them all. I couldn't really put my finger on one that I like the most, because they all have their different challenges, different expectations, and different points of knowledge. Definitely.
Yeah, it's impressive because when I start in this industry, people say coatings, people try to generalize, put it they are all similar, but sure. In reality, each one is completely different, different characteristics, different products, different benefits, different contractors. It's incredible. Everything this industry.
Definitely hit it on the nail right there, Francisco, because it's each one has their own little niche and purpose in the roof in the envelope building process or envelope building coatings, for sure.
Nice. Aaron, I want you to focus today in one topic.
Okay.
Roof restoration.
Of course.
Why roof restoration? Because that's our specialty, or my specialty. You have different ones, more than one.
Sure.
And we want to know everything about roof restoration. Hey fam, it's commercial roof restoration, because do you know what's funny, Aaron, that they call roof restoration to the residential storm damages.
Okay. Oh, okay.
They call restoration like mitigation and restoration when the water goes inside the house, you know?
Okay.
And we have in this side commercial roof restoration. So I like that. That's why I like to explain that we are going to talk about specifically commercial roof restoration.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that is a good point. That actually seen it on hindsight or seen it on the outside of it. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So Aaron, why commercial roof restoration? The main question that everybody asks, why to focus in a commercial roof restoration and why not to like do the complete replacement?
Sure. Well, I mean, there's a couple benefits to that. I would say first of all, it'd be cost effective. We could definitely come in, or roof restoration could come in at either a third to half of the price, depending on the roof substrate. And also depending on your roof substrate, you also alleviate some weight from the roof, more like going into your built-up gravel roofs. You end up taking off all the weight of that rock off the roof, alleviating all that stress onto your trusses and any of your roof surface. Another advantage of going with the roof restoration would be the abatement process of it. You're not filling up your landfills and affecting the environment at that point by tearing off tons and tons of harsh product, harsh chemicals. Maybe you get into something that has more of asbestos or built in the earlier years to where the products aren't too healthy for the environment or for the actual contractor abating that roof. So those would be the two advantages I see to roof restoration. Depending on the state that you're in as well. I think I know here in California, they give you a tax write-off if you do use a roof restoration system. So that would be another benefit that I've known in the years and learning how these systems get applied.
Damn, so we said cost effective.
Cost effective.
We avoid a replacement and through like all the waste.
All the waste into the landfills, which is very good for the environment.
The other way I was seeing one so I'm gonna present it later. All the amount of waste that the roofing industry generates was impressive. And do you know what's the problem that I see with that is that in the industry they are replacing everything. Everything. It's like a trend in the roofing industry, replace roof.
Yes.
And what I seen is that a lot of commercial roof, they don't need a full replacement.
No, not at all. I would add on to that because I mean, most of it kind of is going to go into our other questions, but most of your issues are usually at your seams and penetrations or sometimes craftsmanship where say another trade was on the roof and did a wrong install. But yeah, it's most of these roofs are in pretty good shape. Other than, probably, 100 square feet here, 100 square feet there of aged membrane. Other than that, roof restoration would be beneficial to some of those commercial roofs. Yeah.
Aaron, do you have a percentage of the roof that you inspect that you see, okay, like of 1,000 roofs that I have inspected in my life, half of them were restoration, half of them were replacement. Do you have like a number that you can relate?
I would say, yeah, definitely. From the ones that we've seen and traveled around and done recommendations on, at least 15% are way aged and too far gone to where they would definitely benefit from a full tear off, because as soon as you start getting into where these roofs have not been touched for over 30 years or less sometimes, and they start getting into the trusses or any of the foundation or framing of the roof to where you have dry rot, At that point, then you would have to do, a full tear off, or I'll even touch on that a little bit more. I mean, sometimes to where it'll be still cost effective to where we take out the problematic area, rebuild that problematic area, get it back to normal as much as possible, and then continue with the roof restoration. So that's why I'm kind of more leaning on to the 15% of what I've seen is you're going to have to pretty much put a new roof on it.
Okay. Yeah, and how can you, can you explain to the community, Aron, like what are the steps that you take to decide, like for example, report an assessment, an inspection, like whenever you climb in a roof, what are the recommendations that you can give to the community so they can start with those lookouts?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it kind of there's two ways, or there's a couple ways, because you either got a pre-inspection of checking out the building, making sure that everything is sound and nothing is buckling underneath the roof substrate, to where you could go about that, and it's also seeing if there's any moisture in the roof substrate. The one thing that I do recommend a lot is looking at it with the infrared scanner. This infrared scanner is going to go ahead and tell you what areas are hot pockets or cold pockets, depending what time of the day you do your inspection. That'll kind of identify where you're going to have water intrusion, and that way you could go ahead and grid it on a aerial map and kind of base yourself off a northwest, southeast type portion or type guidance on the roof substrate. Another less expensive way to go about doing that type of an inspection is the Trimix moisture meters, which they sell them in little small modules, but then you also see the walk behind ones that they're about 4 feet long, to where you can get your inspection done a lot sooner. That's mostly that's the type of approach that I take when I do a recommendation for a roof restoration. Now, if I'm going to go ahead and do an inspection for a post application, then at that point I'd take a different approach. My approach on those is usually to see got your seams, penetrations. I'll be generic on that point, because usually on any, or I want to say 95% of where you have your water intrusion, even if you're doing a pre-inspection or a post-inspection after application, is going to be those two key areas. And those two key areas are going to be any penetration coming through the roof, drains, AC units, your ventilation hoods, flashing caps, any drip edge metal, to where your seams meet with the drip edge metal, and then also your seams that either, whether it be a modified bitumen, TPO, or EPDM, those are going to be your problematic areas. That's where you have your water intrusion. Now, that does it'll extend into maybe your roof membrane has been weathered for a long time in ponding water, to where now you see the fibers in the roof. Now, that's another point that you'd like to go ahead and point out those areas and really look for those areas. Those would be my two first tools I really use for inspections, either post or pre. Another one would be pictures, man. Pictures tell 1,000 words. And then it's also a good reference point for you after you do your inspection to write up your report.
Okay. Aron, I'm gonna go back to the point that you said, Trimix and the infrared moisture scans. Mm-hmm. Okay, you do your scanner, the roof, you see some damaged areas with the report.
Sure.
So how do you decide if do you have I heard a percentage that says that, if the roof has more than 25 to 35 of damages need to be replaced, or like if it's a small area, we can replace it. What are you looking for? And probably you said it. What are you looking for in these reports and analysis? And what are the next steps?
So for the infrared is I'd like to go with that first, because it goes into real detail on where your problems are happening. The way that infrared works is that you get there in the morning before the sun hits the roof, and so that moisture that's trapped into the roof deck is going to appear cooler in those areas. Okay. And so as soon as the sun comes out and hits that roof deck surface, the rest of the roof is going to be hot, and the areas that you can identify that look cooler are the areas that you're going to have your water intrusion. So that's where that really comes into play, and it's a big game changer if you do have a team that does that, or if you're certified and an expert in that fashion.
Okay.
Trimix meters, if you don't, if you don't have a infrared scanner, the Trimix meter is something that you could use as well in the same fashion to identify where your moisture is coming in. The Trimix meter will go ahead and ping off of the roof surface into the roof deck and ping off of the moisture, and you could go ahead and grid that on an aerial map that you have with you as you do your inspections. Those are really key points as well, because it's going to help you identify each square foot of that roof to make sure that you're not entrapping too much moisture, or you can identify and do a core test to see if the roof substrate is still intact and still a candidate for a roof restoration.
Okay. And an addition test, do you think that goes together with these steps?
Definitely, adhesion tests are, especially when you get more into your TPOs and EPDMs. Okay. Those are the ones that where different chemical manufacturers have a hard time to adhere to. So an adhesion test, or if you actually, I'll go even another step, if you run into something that has already been restored and you don't know if it's either a silicone surface or an acrylic surface. So that's another adhesion test, is one of those that should be in that toolbox as well.
Okay. So we said infrared moisture scan, Trimix, and the last one was, what was it? The one that you just said?
Adhesion test.
Adhesion test, and then core test.
Core testing as well.
What are the benefits of, or what do you look for in a core test, Aron?
In a core test, you could actually, it's kind of like looking at a ring of a tree trunk. You can see how old the roof is. You can see how saturated the roof is. And you can identify from there if it is a candidate for a roof restoration. Okay,
how often do you do it, or what areas how do you decide where to do it?
So definitely, if you have your moisture, if you have the moisture reader anywhere that you did identify where moisture is, I would do it in those areas, definitely. So if not, I've seen a lot of and done myself to where you do them every 500 square feet.
Okay, pretty good. So those ones, fam, those tests are key before, so we can inspect a commercial roof restorations. And the main ones, like the main benefits of these 4 tests are areas that you cannot see. Mm-hmm. They are under the substrate, so the water or the moisture that you are not going to see it. That's why we need to see under. That's where the water or the moisture is high.
Definitely. So it's a little history of what your roof is, going through.
Awesome. That's super important. That I love that we start with that. Now, Aron, once you climb the roof, you were saying all your preparation methods and all the areas that we need to focus on. Yes. Can you repeat what are the main ones that we need to focus for the reparation? For the reparation.
Sure, yeah. Anything that's actually protruding from the roof, so a penetration, whether it be your any electrical conduits coming through, drain as well, anywhere where you're going to be daylighting your water from the roof to exit that roof. Seams is a big issue as well. Anything that you have a seam onto, either whether it be your prefabricated seams that are already from the manufacturer where you weld to, or where you apply each layer over to the other side of the layer, so you have a correct watershed or adhesion to that prefabricated membrane. And then also all your flashings, anywhere where you have a prefabricated membrane going to drip edge, going under a flashing cap, or meeting a flashing cap. Any of your 90-degree angles where you have a lot of the structural movement where that prefabricated membrane is now a void, and it's not actually monolithically covering the roof surface. Now you're getting to a penetration to where another trade might kick it and it might shear at that point, or even with your thermal cycling to where your hot and cold cycles during the day. Some materials, they get really soft during the day in hot weather, and then when you drop down to 30 degrees at night, and that's where they become a little bit brittle, and they'll go ahead and split and create a void to where that's where you'll have water intrusion.
That will be the thermal expansion, Aron?
Thermal inspection, yes. The thermal expansion, yes, correct. So it's the thermal expansion or thermal cycling is, your hot and cold cycles throughout the day, where some materials perform well there and some materials they do not.
Aaron, what are the roofs that suffer the most with this with this situation?
Thermal inspection, I would say anything that's what I've seen from either in roof restorations or even when it comes to deck waterproofing is the hot mop and any asphalt products that cannot handle that thermal cycling, because what ends up happening with that type of an asphalt ends up getting really pliable during the day in the hot weather, and then when you start getting to sundown and you start getting to your colder weather, well, what ends up happening is that asphalt is not pliable anymore. It ends up stiffening up, and when it stiffs up and it still wants to be pliable, that's when you go ahead and get that shear factor, and that's where you'll go ahead and get those voids, and that's where it eventually lead to water intrusion.
Yeah, I have seen a lot of tar and gravel roof or asphalt roof that they get super hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't have any elongation, and probably any of those movements that you are saying, it's gonna damage the complete roof. And
correct, it ends up. It ends up just creating a crack in the roof to where, because it's expanding and contracting back and forth, and then eventually, when it does lose adhesion to the roof deck, you end up creating these pyramids everywhere, where you have fractures in it, and that's where your water intrusion will come from most of the time.
Yes, Aaron, we are talking about right now built-in roof, tar and gravel.
Yes.
My question is about this. Why I have heard a lot, and I have seen it all like online all the time, is that roofers say that you cannot restore a tar and gravel roof. They you cannot do it. Why do you think they say that? And let me say something. In Instacoat, we have restored thousands of commercial roofs. It's our specialty.
Yes.
And there are some roofs that have been restored for 20 or more years in the company.
Correct.
Why do they say that?
I think you kind of answered the question yourself there, Francisco. I believe on my end, and doing all these presentations and doing them across the nation, it's a lack of knowledge of what type of products are out there and what manufacturers can actually provide. I'm glad to say that we are one of the few manufacturers that do have a solution for tar built-up gravel roofs. And every time we do workshops or presentations, a lot of roofing contractors are surprised that we have a solution for these BOR gravel roofs. And when we show them the samples and we show them the on-site workshops where they can apply on top of a simulated gravel built-up roof, and they see how our product can go ahead and seep into all the cracks and crevices after the substrate's been prepped properly. They see how everything could seep in to all the cracks and crevices and literally become one with that roof substrate. And actually, in hindsight, it adds flexibility to the roof substrate at that point too. So you won't see that expansion and contraction. And if it does expand and contract, we have the 800 to 1,000% elongation that moves with the roof and acts like a buffer.
Okay, Aaron.
So they lack of knowledge of what's really out there in the industry.
Nice. Can you explain a little bit what's a little bit more? Can we go a little bit more deeply? Or I don't know if you have a sample there close to you where we can show the community what are we saying about that elongation that we have about the new technologies?
Sure. Give me a minute. I think I have one here on my desk.
Yeah.
I have a couple samples here that I'll go ahead and get into while we're doing this segment of it.
Yeah, Aaron, I want to go deep. I'm a little bit deeper into this topic because for us, probably super normal what we are saying now. Yeah, elongation, losing elongation, but probably for the community, when they see all this technology, they're gonna go like, okay, I understand what they are saying.
It's definitely different than other asphalt cold applied products. A lot of the other products don't have as much elongation. Or they might have the elongation, but they don't have the recovery. And the recovery factor is the really important part of this type of membrane. Some products they claim to have more than 1,000% elongation, but there's no recovery. So if they do stretch out past their 1000%, there's no recovery for it to go ahead and recover and then be back with the roof substrate. So the sample that I have here is our backbone of our system. This rubber here is going to be your buffering throughout your whole roofing system. It's going to handle the expansion and contraction, and then also it's going to have handle the recovery process. Besides that as well, it's a self-sealing self-sealing membrane in itself. So if you have any screws, or if you have anybody up there doing maintenance and they drop a nail or drop a screw, you could have this go ahead and take out, you'll be able to take out the nail, and in time, this membrane will go ahead and heal itself. So I just want to go ahead and show you guys this rubber sample that I have here, that we always, this is our, our showcase. We show everybody this, and this is kind of, it just reassures that your waterproofing membrane is going to be intact throughout the whole roof, and you're going to stay waterproof throughout the entirety of the warranty that you have. So I'm going to go ahead and stretch this as much as I can.
That's elongation?
That's the elongation, and I'm not pushing it back together. I'll just let it recover by itself. And so you can already see the membrane starting to recover. And I'll go ahead and set this down and I'll show you at the end how much it'll go back to its about 99% recovery.
Self-healing. What's self-healing, Aron?
Self-healing is if this membrane were to get punctured, if it were to get punctured, which I got a pin here with a little point on it, and we'll go ahead and, I'll push through as well so you can see, how durable this membrane is. But I'll go the extra ante, and
you couldn't puncture it. Okay,
I couldn't puncture it. Yeah. But I'll take the extra ante, create a hole for you there.
Okay.
And then you'll see what the recovery process, I've stretched out. You see the recovery process happening already. But not only that, you'll go ahead and see that with time and heat, this membrane will go ahead and become one again. You can literally take a piece off of your boot or a piece off of your pants from 10 years ago and get a fresh piece that you barely applied today, and they would both adhere back to each other. It's a little bit cold in the room, so we'll see if we'll see if it makes, but everything just comes back together.
Yeah, and right now, I bet that if you leave it there, because I have done it, it's gonna self-heal right now with the time. Yeah,
I'll go ahead and just leave it there, and then well, you've already seen how much I stretched this piece out, and it's already starting to recover. So that's how we pretty much go through some of our presentations, and it's really great.
So fam, check this out. This membrane that I don't have in their hands is the reinforcement membrane. So it's the first line of protection of all our systems. So Aron, how much do we apply of that membrane normally?
As much as we can. price permitted, as much as we can. We do a lot to where we do the full membrane system, which I have here in my hand. I want to say at least 90. We try to do at least 90% of our roof restorations, if not 100% throughout the roof surface, at least in your penetrations and seams. So that way you can handle that thermal cycling and that structural movement in those areas, because it ends up acting like a buffer for the silicone top coat.
Okay. So Aron, do you think, coming back to the preparation, do you think the preparation is the secret? This is another thing that I have here in the industry all day long. Like, preparation is the secret. Once you prepare it correctly, it's not gonna leak. What do you think about that?
I'd say 100% with you on that one, Francisco. Preparation is going to be key. From even doing epoxy floors or even deck waterproofing, I'd say even on a roof surface, it's even more important. The roof surface is going to collect a lot of dirt, leaves. You're going to get your different, especially in your ponding water areas, you're going to get your soot, you're going to get your buildup of dirt. Anything that encapsulates those areas that's not properly prepped, you're pretty much adhering to dust. And if anybody's tried to adhere to dust or to any type of a dirt surface, you have no adhesion. You're not actually stuck to the roof surface. So you're going to get, your membrane's going to sacrifice at that point, and you're not going to have a smooth, monolithic, completely adhere surface to 100% of your roof deck. So I would say key preparation is always key with anything you're doing. I mean, any type of application, but definitely mostly important with your roof restorations, so that you know that you have that adhesion 100% throughout your roof surface.
Got it. Aaron, and power wash. Is it before, after the preparation? What's your recommendation? Because I have here like this, let me tell you this story.
Sure.
A lot of someone share it, and I have seen it a lot, that contractors that they start cleaning the roof. It's an old roof, and the roof start leaks because they are power washing the roof without reinforcing the damaged areas. So before, after, what are your recommendations in this part?
So it would be how dirty, on my end, and when I do the inspection, it depends how dirty that roof is. And it depends the roof substrate. When you get into your granulated mod bit, some have good watershed on them, to where a power broom or a backpack blower would be sufficient. Then you have others that you'll have to go ahead and pressure wash them. So it definitely depends on the roof substrate. But what I recommend a lot is if you can identify where your leaking areas are, where you're having your water intrusion, definitely prepare those areas before you start your pressure washing. So that way you don't cause further damage or further damage into whatever the building owner has inside of the building. So definitely pressure washer works great. But I've seen a lot of people get away with power brooming. A power broom is it's a gas. It's pretty much, some of them are walk behind units. Some you have to where they're attached to a weed whacker powered motor, but they have a separate attachment to it, to where it has a bristle broom at the end of it, and that bristle broom is, it's going to be turning pretty high RPM, to where you can push and then also get into all the cracks and crevices of that roof and push the dirt, and then eventually vacuum it in your certain sections that you have around the roof.
Okay. So Aaron, fam, this is a tip, a recommendation for the community. So and you tell me if I'm right. Do you recommend, before doing the power wash and all the restoration, do an internal inspection of the building to talk with the building owner so they can point all the weak parts, so we can see where all the leaks, the possible leaks, or we can check it out in the roofing, but internally?
Yeah, internally would be definitely after you've done your inspections on the surface. If you could go ahead and walk the building with your client and see where they're having their problematic areas, where you can identify before you start pressure washing, before you start doing any type of prep. Or say if they're going to have a rain coming, you could go ahead and handle those areas first, and that'd be an easier way and more direct way to identify where the leaks are coming from, if they don't have other issues. Because sometimes you could go ahead and pinpoint a leak and it's coming from 10-20 feet away on the other side of the roof. So, but definitely going into the roof and going in and under into the building, and trying to identify that way would be a smart way to do it as well.
Nice. So Aaron, right now we are going deeper and deeper in. What I wanna do, Aaron, is go deep in the the roof restoration, with all the inspections, all the cleaning, everything that we have talked, the reports. That's why I'm staying in this part, because what I wanna do later is having another conversation like this, but have another topic, in case you see that I'm going back about the similar topic.
Of course.
Because I feel there is a lot of information only in inspections and preparation and power washing. That's one of the, that's a lot of huge information.
That's the foundation.
That's that's the most important. You said it right. So Aaron, in the power washing, how do you recommend, what tools do you recommend to power wash? Because I heard that there are some machines that can damage the roof when they have a lot of pressure, or what's your recommendation in that topic?
So it really depends on, I guess it would depend on the roof substrate too, because if I feel you on that one, because if you have a granulated mod bit and you take a 4,000 PSI, 4 gallon per minute machine straight to it, and you're holding it 6 inches away from the surface, you're definitely gonna do some damage. So I would say it'd be knowledge on the contractor or the labor guy who is performing the pressure washing, to know that you have this much psi and this much gallons coming through the gun, to be knowledgeable on how far from the surface you would have to be. So I always recommend a high pressure machine, nothing more than 4,000 psi, 4 gallons per minute. The reason why I recommend that is, as soon as you gain knowledge on how to pressure wash and how to do it safely, you could go ahead and move a lot faster with that type of pressure and that type of that much gallons per minute coming through that gun. There's also different attachments. You have, walk behind attachments that go ahead and swirl on the roof surface, and to where you have that one going ahead and cleaning off everything that's stuck to the roof surface, and then you have a second guy behind him kind of just pushing all the soot and the mud into these designated areas where you're going to go ahead and I try to steer away from showing people to send it down the drains, because it causes more issues. So I recommend them putting either absorbent socks around the roof drain, so that any water that's going to go ahead and start going down towards the drains goes through those socks, but the socks actually absorb any soot, or they actually create a dam to where that soot won't go ahead and obstruct that drain and cause further issues for the building owner.
Okay. Drainage, Aaron, is that a pain point for all roofs, all commercial roofs?
Yeah, definitely. Even from not maintaining your room and prep. I mean, prep wise, you want to go ahead and make sure that you really don't send a lot of debris, dust, and dirt down into those drains, because drains have elbows, and they're 90-degree elbows. Those elbows will go ahead and, they'll accumulate all that dust, all that dirt, all those leaves in those areas, eventually clogging it up. And then you'd have to call out a different trade to go ahead and clean those out. So it ends up, getting into the contractor's pocket or the building owner's pocket, or even discourage the building owner and discouraging them to thinking that you know what you're doing.
Damn.
Yeah.
Hey fam, listen what Aaron is saying, because we are trying to help. We are not we don't want to get more damages or more, we don't want to cause more problems to our clients. Mm-hmm. Commercial roof restoration is a topic that sometimes people think that it's pretty easy, that everybody can do it, that it's like just putting applying paint, like it's a lot of people say. But it's not like that. You need experience. You need to have experience applying the systems and all the steps that Aaron said. But in the same time, with all the other side that is with the clients and the customer service, because you need to be prepared. You need to have a mentor or a coach or a technical director like Aaron that is supporting you all the time, or get closer to your manufacturer. Mm-hmm. Because they have all the experience. You can have and one recommendation that I'm going to do is get close to your manufacturer, and you can hire coaches too, external coaches or consultants that have been in the industry for years. And I think that's our main recommendation, because there are horror stories around the commercial roofing industry, and probably Aaron, a lot of these stories, and mm-hmm. probably we are going to focus one episode to talk about these horror stories, because what we want to do is we want to avoid that you made all these mistakes that can happen to you, and these mistakes can cost you your company. Mm-hmm. Right, Aaron?
Oh, yeah, definitely. One mistake, either be safety or either the craftsmanship wasn't there, could cost you thousands, if not hundred thousands of dollars.
Yes, take in consideration that we are talking about $1 million companies, $1 million operations, and you cannot go and practice with that.
No.
Aaron, what other recommendations do you have to someone that is starting, so they don't have through all these situations that can happen? What other recommendations do you have?
I would say definitely, do your research. Do your research on the product. Do your research on the industry of that type of waterproofing or that type of restoration. Definitely try to be transparent with your manufacturer. which we try to with our contractors be very transparent, with prep processes and being in our workshops and going through that type of process. Do your due diligence, do your homework on if you are going to get into roof restorations. You'll see that it's very very easy to get into the industry, but it's very hard to keep your reputation. As a roof coating contractor. And it comes with either learning from experience from your manufacturer or from someone myself, or learning from the experiences on your own, jumping your own, or getting through your own hurdles and different, mistakes that you've made, and learning from those mistakes mostly. But to prevent it is definitely be transparent and do your research on what you're going to be applying on that roof, and what limitations your product that you're applying has.
Yes, like I see a lot of roofers. One situation that I see, Aaron, a lot is that they are roofers that do residential. They have been in the industry or with their company 2-3 years, yes. And then they catch a well. They catch a commercial roof. Then they start doing it by itself. And then they got a lot of surprises. I've seen a lot of that. Fam, if you are one of the contractors that have a commercial roofing project on your way and you don't know how to handle a big well or a big commercial roof, we recommend you that you call us. Call people, and you don't have to call us, Aaron, or to me. Like, you need to be in contact with people that knows what are they doing. Like,
I would definitely reach out to somebody that's been in the situation before. Other contractors that are willing to, show you the hurdles and obstacles to get through commercial roof restoration. Like I said, just you have to do your homework. You have to do. Make sure you have the right equipment to get it done in a timely manner as well. And definitely, if you are a residential roofer and are willing to get into the commercial market, it's a good way to build your business. If you're turning roofs around, a couple of residential roofs in a week, I would say that you have the right force behind you to go ahead and take care of a commercial roof. I wouldn't see why not.
Yes. Aaron, changing the subject a little bit. In all your experience that you have been inspecting roof, climbing roof, being in commercial roofs, on commercial roofs, what are the most common commercial roofs that you see in the country? What is the most popular?
I would say a lot, because they're the most problematic, would be the gravel built-up roofs. Those I've seen a lot of those across the country, or even smooth built-up roofs. TPOs are probably, I'd say they're in a race and a tie with granulated mobbit. So it'd be. I guess I'll change my thought on that. It probably the two up there would be the granulated mobbit and TPO. Definitely across the country, everywhere you can find those. In the United States and across the world, I would say, even Mexico City, when we do inspections out of Mexico City, or even in India, where we've been before too as well. But here in the United States, we see that technology of built-up gravel roofs, and those are the ones that we go and have a lot of inspections on those and have a solution for those as well. So that's kind of where I'll place those different roof substrates.
Okay, modified bitumen, granulated modified bitumen, and TPO. Why, TPO. Aaron? Why these two type of roof systems are the ones? What, do you see a coincidence or something? Price, weather, regions?
Price I would say price competitiveness, and then robustness, and then for TPO, the reflectivity factor on that, because it's a white roof. Same thing with granulated mob. You have it's a gray ceramic granule that's on the top roof surface, on the roof surface, and that creates some reflectivity. But then also some of those modified bitumen roofs are a very robust roll, so they can handle years and years of abuse or of weather abuse. Okay,
and once you are on the roof, you are on a TPO modified bitumen, and what are the things that you see in this type? Because, and tell me if I'm wrong, every type of roof systems has their own damages or weaknesses. Like not all of them are the same. Observations. What in these two roof systems that are the most popular, is this something that you see like pretty often?
So the most often, and depending on what region you are in the United States or in the world, is hail damage. It's across the board.
Okay.
Hail damage. Yeah, hail damage is across the board. Damages anything from your, not so much on the, if you have a good roof deck on a granulated mod bit, you'll see some damage. But if you have a pretty sturdy roof substrate underneath, it's not as much as you see with the TPOs. TPOs, I see a lot more hail damage, destructive damage happening on the TPOs because you have an insulation board underneath that really doesn't have a reinforcement to it, and so you'll go ahead and get the factor of the hail hitting the roof surface and then fracturing the TPOs. I would say that it depends. That's depending on your region, on where do you get these golf ball size hail or baseball size hail, which would be more of the middle states of America or northern regions to where you get that type of hail damage. The most common besides that, like here in California, what we see with everything is the ponding water areas. Ponding water areas, especially when you get into your high desert or low desert areas here in California, where we get these flash floods or we get these desert rains out of nowhere during the summer, you end up getting these ponding water areas throughout your roof surface. The roof surface ends on these ponding water areas, with the heat coming out the next day, that water in that ponding water area ends up acting like a magnifying glass. Really heats up that roof surface, really dissolves what chemicals is on that roof surface, and eventually ends up getting down into the mesh. And then once you get down into the mesh in those type of roofs, then that's where you have your water intrusion, is what I've seen throughout the years of working and doing roof restorations.
Okay. Hey, Aaron, I have here a lot of more stories, but these ones are about TPO. That there are like roofs that are not even 10 years, or probably they are like younger, like with less ages. Like they just install it pretty soon, and they are suffering from the seams. The seams that they are like not holding.
Yeah, well, it definitely depends on the craftsmanship. I would say I'll touch on that. It definitely depends on the craftsmanship, on how fast and how well you're welding those seams. Temperatures will have to do a lot with it too. If you're applying your TPO in cold weather, and you're used to applying the TPO in a moderate weather or warmer weather, your welding is going to be a little bit slower in your colder weather. Depending, and then also that has to go with if your TPOs adhere to the insulation board. If you have a TPO that's not adhered to the insulation board, well, then you're going to be suffering from some expansion and contraction on that point too, with your thermal cycling, and that eventually will go ahead with that expansion and contraction. Will go ahead and either, if you had a seam that was not welded correctly, you'll go ahead and have a tear or a lift up in those areas due to the welding due to the TPO not being properly welded. It's a common. People want to hurry up, and a lot of contractors want do really good work, and a lot of contractors go out there and want to blow and go and just hurry up and go, and that's where you go ahead and you get those problematic areas in that type of situation. I've seen TPOs. I mean, they work great. They have a reflectivity. There's not too much, other than labor. That's the only labor intensive part of it, is getting on the roof and welding. But we have seen a couple roofs that have been applied where they have, they claim they have 20-year warranties within 7 years in ponding water areas, especially here in the desert cities. We don't see that a lot, and we get called out to those, and those are the ones that we're restoring with our rubber membrane, so that we could handle that movement, and so that also we could revive those areas where you can't see the rubber or where you can't see the mesh. That mesh, the rubber ends up becoming one with the mesh, so it ends up becoming one with the roof at that point, and you have a really robust system in those areas.
Okay. So Aaron, we are going to start closing. I want you to create create a conclusion right now with everything that you said. But before of that, is there anything that we are missing for prior a roof restoration, or that we miss?
I think at this point we've covered everything. Anybody who's listening to this, if you do have any questions, we're kind of going over. It's not really to diminish or talk bad about any of the other type of roof substrates or roof manufacturers. We're just kind of going through the issues and problems that we see, and that's why we're in the business, is because we see these issues, we see these problems that we end up fixing. A lot of manufacturers, they have great products. They have their place in the industry, and sometimes we come across either it be craftsmanship, either it be performance of the roof substrate, but that's why we're in this industry. That's what we're doing, what we do, is because we have a solution and a great product to go ahead and restore and save the end user some money at the end of the day.
Yeah. Hey fam, remember this. We are talking about commercial roof restoration. We are talking about all roofs. Mm-hmm. Commercial roofs that are 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25, 30, even there are roofs that are lasting 40 years, and they need maintenance. They need a restoration. That's where we come in place. This is a small niche in commercial roofing that is growing. The economy is not giving the chance to be replacing roof all over. We need to find technologies and alternatives that are great for the environment. So I think, yes, like you said, Aaron, you say it right. Like, we are not talking bad about anyone, but we are talking about all roofs that have problems. Even if you have the best product, after 10, 15, 20 years, you are gonna have a problem. Mm-hmm. And more with these new weather situations and challenges, it's gonna get like bigger and bigger problems.
Each year is changing. I mean, each year either you got shorter winters and longer summers, or longer summers and shorter winters. Just like this year, we're already we're in fall, but we're already starting to see colder weather throughout the nation, and even here in Temecula, where I'm at, the high is 50 degrees, and then we get down to 30 degrees at night. So it's always changing.
Damn. So Aaron, let's summarize everything that we said, all the important points. The first one is moisture scan. Imagine, like, let me say it better. Imagine you have a roof. The steps that you need to go through are the next. The first one is moisture scan, thermo moisture scan with a drone, right?
With a drone or walk behind, but most effective would be drone, because you could go ahead and cover the entire roof at one point.
Actually, we do both with a drone and with the Tramix, right?
Yes, or they have the infrareds as well, where it's just a handheld or devices on your phone as well. You can buy them as well. They're not too expensive.
FLIR cameras, infrared drones, and Tramix, guys, are the name of the tools that you will need to inspect a roof or the substrate. Then after that, it's an external, or do you recommend internal inspection?
Internal as well, to add to that,
okay.
so you can add that to your report and add that to your knowledge of what the roof is doing.
Internal, okay. The internal, then external. Go climb the roof and go walk it. Actually, in this point, whenever you take either your FLIR camera or your Tramix, your Tramix moisture scan. Okay. Then will be, okay, if the roof is a good candidate, then we go with the power wash, right? Or find the damages or the leaks.
Find damages or leaks first, so you can seal those up and not create no more water intrusion.
More problems. Then power wash.
Power wash or power broom, depending on the roof surface.
Preparation.
Preparation on all your seams, details, on all your seams, drains, penetrations around AC units.
And remember that each type of commercial roof systems of all of them that we have in the market are different, and they have different parts that damage in a different way. Correct?
Correct.
Like, find the observation of each type of roof. And then the last one, what we prepare, now we can apply the membrane.
Correct.
And this is the part where I'm gonna stop, because I want to leave the rest of the topics for the next episodes. Aron, I want to invite you that, I don't know if you want to do more of these series of shows. Either we can invite someone, or either we can do it between you and me. But like, the goal is that we keep, there are so much topics. There is commercial roof restoration is so interesting that I want to go deeper and deeper and have an expert like you, and like, hey, share our information and help others. Like, hey, like, we know that you can have a bad time doing these type of projects. Like, we want to avoid that. We want to help you.
Yeah, done correctly, you could be definitely very profitable in this type of market. But the key word is done correctly, for sure.
Yes, exactly. You couldn't say it better, Aron. Aron, where can the community find you, or like, where can they send you a message or communicate with you?
So I'm on LinkedIn as Aron Corral, Director of Applications for Instacoat. You can find me also on Instagram at Aron Corral or Aron_Corral 90. You'll see me post a lot of stuff there from my site visits, or also I help out sometimes when I'm on the site visits. You'll go ahead and see me post stuff on the Instagram website. If you guys do have any projects out there that you've done with Instacoat Premium Products, make sure to tag Instacoat Premium Products on whatever social media platform you're using. But you can find me on those. I'm always on LinkedIn, and I'm always on, I try to stay away from Instagram because it kind of, you end up getting into a deeper hole into Instagram and just kind of scrolling. So I try to stay more on the professional side and do LinkedIn more than Instagram.
Yes. Okay, fam, you can find it LinkedIn or Instagram. You can, if you have another question, you can message me, direct message me. And don't forget to like, share, comment the YouTube channel and the episode, so more people can benefit about this. I will let you guys know if we are going to be keeping this type of episode with Aron, so we can talk about more commercial roofing. That is our favorite topic. Aron, thank you very much, man. I will let you know. We will see you soon, and thank you for being in your show, Leaders Conversation.
Awesome, man.